And now, without further ado, we're going to move to Rabbi Leibtag.
Okay. It's a pleasure to have so many people on these shiurim. A big thank you to Rabbi Stavsky for his tremendous leadership during this time, and as well, it's a real schus of mine to sit on as the vice president of the CRC on the Geirus Commission, as a local rabbi in Chicago and a teacher, but to be involved in so much of their the goodness that they provide in the community. So thank you to them. And we're already running out of time, so we got to learn. So there's what I want to talk about. The topic for tonight, I usually like to be interactive, although it's maybe a little bit more difficult. The topic I'd like to talk about is actually Moshiach. There has been a lot of talk about Moshiach over the last 2 months. I don't know about you, I was ready, Pesach time, I was sure it was happening. And then it doesn't happen the first day, and then the second day. All right, and we're still waiting, and we're hoping for Moshiach. So I wanted to talk about that concept, that idea, about what does it mean to say that I believe in Moshiach. So I'm going to share with you the following, so we can learn a little bit of some sources together. Hopefully you can all see it on your screen. So we're going to learn the following. Here's the question I want to ask you. Let's learn the Rambam. So the Rambam says that, now we take a quick step back, even though we only have half hour, but we'll make good use of our time. The Rambam, we should just know and understand, the Rambam is born in 1135. Right? The Rambam is born in Cordova. By the age of 13, he already has to flee. He's born in the northern part of Africa, and he's freeing already, and what a great bar mitzvah gift. Here's your bar mitzvah. You have to run out of town because people are chasing you and they want to kill you as Jews. Gets to Israel, can't stay in Israel because there's crusades. He then settles in different parts, perhaps in Cairo, and his brother is a very successful merchant. The Rambam becomes a doctor, and he publishes many svarim along the way. One of the most influential works that the Rambam publishes is one of the earliest works that he puts out, and that is called the Perush HaMishnayos. That's this first source here. The Rambam published the Perush HaMishnayos. It's probably one of the least controversial books of the time when the Rambam puts them out. And the Rambam is essentially a commentary on the Mishnah. And in this part, in the Mishnah Sanhedrin, the Rambam gives us what we call the 13 principles of faith. Now, if we had like another 8 hours, we could discuss this idea of 13 principles of faith. Why the 13? Some people felt the Rambam was too little. Every mitzvah is important. Some people felt the Rambam with 13 was way too many. A whole debate between Rav Yosef Albo, a great discussion. But either way, the Rambam writes 13 principles of faith because for the Rambam, it's important to know, just as when I want to get to the next world and get all this good reward, I have to do certain things as a Jew. I got to keep the right mitzvahs. I got to do the right things. I have to believe the right things also. And if I don't believe the right things, that's a problem. So I have to know what to believe. So the Rambam lists 13 things. Now later, we summarize these 13, I'm sure most of us know, we summarize these 13 into something we call the 13 Ani Mamins. Right, the 13 Ani Mamins. The Rambam does not write Ani Mamin. It is summarized later. And then later down the road, we summarize these 13 into Yigdal. Right? When we say Yigdal after davening or during davening, Yigdal is 13 sentences, 13 phrases. Each correspond to a different principle of faith. That's a very, very quick background. Very quick. There's like thousands of books we could talk about on this topic right now, but let's leave it at that. I'm assuming we're all on the same page because I can't really hear any of you, so I'm on the same page as you, so let's continue. The Rambam tells us in his 12th principle, Vayesod Hashnei Masar Yemos HaMashiach. So you have to remember, these are 13 things, you must remember and you must believe. If you don't believe these, you're not gonna be a good Jew. Okay, so some of those include belief in God, that Hashem is only one, Hashem is no physical makeup, the belief in Torah, the belief in the divinity of Torah, and then the Rambam tells us the 12th thing you must believe, Lahamin v'lamos sheyavo, that Mashiach is going to come. Ve'ein lomar shenisachar and yisma meichakalo. I shouldn't say he's delayed, rather we're waiting for him. Ve'ein likvoa lozman, don't give it a time. And don't start to figure it out based on this, based on that. Believe. Ulaha'amin bo min hagdola ve'ahava lispalel lavo b'hatam. I have to believe in all of my heart that Moshiach is going to come. And not just that, Moshiach, now there's all these great questions. I get a chance, one of the other great privileges that I have is I get to be a 7th and 8th grade Rabbi at Hillel Torah. So often when the students in one of my colleagues' classes are learning about a certain part of Chumash, they get into a debate about Moshiach, and they have lots of questions, much of which I really don't have answers to because I don't really know all the answers to everything. But they ask, how's he going to come? What's it going to look like? How are we going to know? Jews throughout history have tried to figure this out. And we've had some false Mashiach, Shabtai Tzvi, Bar Kochva, those are the famous ones. And what does he have to do? All these great things. But in the end of the day, I got to believe that Mashiach is going to come. And then the Rambam goes one more step. Umishan is stopping over here. If you are in doubt, or you belittle it, you're machish es ha-Torah shivticha bo. You basically deny the Torah. So imagine you're like a really good Jew. I'm talking like you do all the right things. You wait the full 6 hours after meat. And you daven all the davenings. And you light 100 Shabbos candles. Okay, you're a really, really good Jew. The only thing is you don't believe Mashiach's gonna come. That's it. Everything else, you wear 17 different pairs of tefillin, you keep Shabbos till Wednesday. You can't get more religious than that. Okay? And then the only thing is you don't believe in Mashiach. So the Rambam says, if that's how you view your life, and this is a very important thought in the philosophy of the Rambam. All right. Hello, Jacob Felix. Good to see you. Okay? If you have the philosophy of the Rambam, all right, that's it. It doesn't work anymore for you. You're not going to get Olam Haba. So the question I have for you in the last 22 minutes we have together, why? Why is this such an important belief in our religion? In general, we have to believe in a lot of things. In general, we have to believe in Torah, and we have to believe in Moshe Rabbeinu. If I were to ask you, list me all of the things you have to believe in, I can't imagine that without knowing this Rambam, we would have said you got to absolutely believe in Mashiach. And yet, if we look a little bit further, the Rambam goes a little bit further. The Rambam says that Melech HaMashiach, the Mashiach is going to come, and he says, because, why does the Rambam have to write this again? He already wrote it in his Perush HaMishnayos, in his commentary, because the Rambam says, don't think this is not a halacha. This is absolutely a halacha. Meaning, in the bold here, I'm sorry, this was supposed to be bold numbered, but right here in the Rambam, if you don't believe this, you're not just kofar, you don't just deny the prophets, you deny the Torah, and you deny Moshe Rabbeinu. I mean, that's a real question. So why? Why is it that this fundamental belief in Mashiach, while important, holds such weight that if I don't believe it, I'm denying the entire Torah? It negates everything else that I do. Why is it so important? Not only that, if you, we'll see that. I'll even tell you one more thing, which we're not going to see the source tonight. When you get to the next world, we know the Gemara tells us, the rabbis tell us, there's 4 or 6 questions, but we assume that it's at least 4 questions that you were asked. One of which is, were you honest in business? Did you learn Torah? Did you have children, support children, orphans? And did you believe in Mashiach? How did that made the final cut? The final cut of the questions you were asked to determine your life is about Mashiach. So the question is why? And what makes this even more confusing is what you see down here in the Gemara in Sanhedrin. Because the Gemara in Sanhedrin tells us, Rabbi Hillel Omer, Ein lahem Mashiach li Yisrael, shekvar achlu b'mei Chizkiyo, that we sort of don't have this anymore. There's no Mashiach anymore. They already had him during the days of Chizkiyo. So now we have an even greater question. Either we're supposed to believe in it, and even if I believed in it, I missed the boat. So what I would like to discuss and learn a little bit with you tonight. It's something to think about over Yontiv and over Shavuos. And as Rabbi Mistovsky said, we should all sign up for a parak. If everybody that's on this call signs up for a parak, we could be done. If you sign up for a parak, I believe Rabbi Mistovsky said he's going to bring you personally a special dinner. I believe he said something like that. But I don't know, you have to check with him. But everybody should sign up. So the question is why? So let's learn tonight, what is this belief in Moshiach? So first, let's see the viewpoint of Rabbi Yosef Albo. Rabbi Yosef Albo in the Sefer Yikarim, Rabbi Yosef Albo lives during the 13 to 1400s, as you can see here. Rabbi Yosef Albo believed that, in fact, the Rambam's list of 13 was actually too many. Too many. Rabbi Yosef Albo says you only have to believe in three things, but leaving that is a different time. Rabbi Yosef Albo says the following. He quotes that Gemara in Sanhedrin that says, you enjoyed Mashiach. Then he says, V'yesh lishom kein lama yiskiru osa b'Gemara shu yotze miklal yisrav lemame b'ikre dasam. And he goes on to suggest, Rabbi Yosef Albo, that the idea of belief in Mashiach is that it's not necessarily as important as the Rambam. It means I'm denying a certain part, but it's not as stringent as the Rambam. So let's shift our focus a little bit to understand what it means to believe in Moshiach. And I want to discuss the following idea. When I mentioned earlier that there's this Gemara that tells us we have 4 questions, right? 4 questions were asked. So if we go through those questions for a second. So one question is, did I nasata v'natata be'amuna? Hello, Sarah Weiss. Good to see you. Nasata v'natata be'amuna. Did I do honesty in business? All right, so a person is going to look back. They're going to take out your records after 120 years. And seemingly, it's obviously there's a little bit of give and take, but it's going to be yes or no. Was I honest in business? Was I not honest in business? But it's like that's a totality of my life. My whole life is business. How it was in the store, what I did in my own personal business, all those shilohs. That's my whole life. Koveh itim la Torah, huge question. Did my life, not just that I learned Torah, was my life guided by Torah? Rabbi Leo Young, and the great rabbi in New York, used to say, it doesn't mean that I learned Torah. It means, was Torah koveya? So you're going to look back, you're going to look at your life, and you're going to say, all right, did I make my decisions based on Torah? Did I just help my kids based on Torah? All of those great, and that's a totality of life question. Did I have children? Did I help support orphanages? That's a totality of my life. How is this 4th question that we're going to be asked? Did I believe in Mashiach? Yes or no? Yes or no? How does that affect the totality of my life? Because the idea of belief in Mashiach, and really this topic could take us weeks. Many, many years ago on my show, I did a whole series on Mashiach for Shavuos. But I want to share just one thought of the great Yeshiva of Ner Yisrael, Rabbi Yaakov Weinberg. He says the following. The 13 principles of faith do affect me in my everyday life. If I believe in the divinity of the Torah, if I believe Torah can't be changed, I believe God doesn't have a body, that affects everything that I am as a Jew. What about Mashiach? And he says the following. Belief in Mashiach is not, you know what, I heard about it, I'm good, I believe he's going to come, I'll have my bag packed, and if he comes, I am more than ready to go. I believe that he will come. Yaakov Weinberg said that's not what it means. Believe in Mashiach impacts my life, because if I understand that after this world, something greater is going to be, that Mashiach, when we talk about Mashiach, one of the things I discuss with my students when they ask these kind of questions, Mashiach isn't just that he comes and we're in Israel. According to the Rabbi, we might not be in Israel. But the idea is that when Mashiach comes, it ushers in a whole new era, an era of closeness to God, an era of Olam Haba eventually. The belief in Mashiach is that I understand that there is something greater than what I'm doing right now. And especially when I go through certain things and I have certain challenges. The reason I wanted to talk about this topic tonight, because I think it's so important to the lives that we're living. when we go through our individual challenges, our family challenges, and our communal challenges, and national, international challenges, even if I have questions, even if I don't understand, even if it doesn't make sense, but I say that there is a plan. I don't get it, and I have lots of questions, but I believe there's a plan. That's belief in Moshiach. So in the end of my life, after 120 years, when I come to Shemayim, and God or the angels will say to me these 4 questions. They are totality of life. How can you assess your entire life? Did I learn Torah? Torah guided my life. I learned. I didn't. Halacha guided me. I can see it wasn't 100%, but it was. It was good. Sometimes like my students, I ask them. I say, how many Shemona Esreis a week do you think I have like really intensely? They're like, I don't know, like 21, 20. I'm like, I don't know. It's probably like 2 or 3. Okay. But okay. There are times, but I can look back and I can say for most of my life, I can look at my life and I can say I was honest in business. I didn't cheat. I didn't do anything wrong. I even gave that extra thing back when Target shipped it to me. I didn't have to, but I even went back and I returned it. I had children. I gave money to orphans. In this question, I could say, when I went through a challenge in my life, a difficult challenge, and I said, I don't get it, but I believe there's a plan, that's tzipisa liyeshua, that's the belief in Mashiach. And that's why the Rambam includes it in one of the 13. Not only that I believe that there is this Mashiach, because it impacts my life daily. And this says Rav Kook in a beautiful, beautiful piece. Rav Kook says, the language of tzipisa liyehoshua is a little bit interesting. There's another word we use often for hope and for anticipation. And that, says Rav Kook, is kivisi. I am anticipating something. I hope something is going to come. So Rav Kook says, what's the difference between these 2 words? And Rav Kook describes here at the bottom in source number 6. He says, you should feel its action. You shouldn't forsake it. You're anticipating baroso al pitzi piso through my anticipation. Shabbos shas maisa. There's 2 ideas. We all know the different people, the Chafetz Chaim, whoever it was, had their bags packed and were ready to go. Absolutely. Part of that is kivisi. I'm waiting for it. I hope it's going to come. But anticipation is very different. When I anticipate something, I know that it's there. I can feel it. I'm not there yet, but I feel it. I anticipate something. When you're at whatever it was, for example, when I went to the Siyam Hashas, now in both in Chicago, of course, and also in New York, it was very cold. And even with that being very, very cold, sitting there and standing there, you could feel something really amazing was about to happen. Could be at a football game and know that something amazing is about to happen. That's tzipisa liyehoshua. That's the difference between just anticipating, just waiting versus anticipating. And that's the belief in Mashiach. And I think out of any of the 13 principles of faith, this is the one that we're literally living in it right now. We are living during, most of the 13 principles of faith. I think most of us don't believe that God has a hand. Okay, maybe we do. I do not. So but it's not necessarily something that's on our radar all the time. We believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We believe that he doesn't have we know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was first and HaKadosh Baruch Hu was last. So we're able to answer those. But this question about belief in Mashiach, that's why the last 2 principles of faith, because the next principle of faith is Tchias HaMesim, which is also about not just that I believe there is a next world, but that my guf and my neshama eventually will come together. And let me just share, and I know that we've heard this story, but I would be, it would be wrong of me not to share the story about Ani Mamin with you. The song that we sing, the Ani Mamin, that song, we know or we might not know, was composed by the Majitzer Rebbe, the Majitzer Chaz. The Majitzer Rebbe those that don't know me, I'm a big fan of music and chazanim and singing. And there are a lot of people that have influenced our davening. Majid's Hasidim have influenced a lot of our tefillah in terms of the tunes that we sing. So the Rebbe of Majid's, Rabbi Shol Yedidja Elazar, he had Hasidim throughout towns and in Europe and the cities in Poland. And one of those was Rabbi Azriel David Fastag, and he was known for his exceptional voice, his really exceptional voice during as a chazan. So the story goes that people would come to his shul for the Yom HaNorayim, and he was blessed with a gift from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And he lived simply, this chazan. And as the war begins to unfold, obviously we know what happened to the Jews. And the chazan, this Rav Fastag, finds himself on a cattle car. And for those, when I take students to the Holocaust Museum, and we walk into the cattle car, it's one of the most real. When I asked them afterwards, what was the most real feel that you had, where something really hit you? It's walking into the cattle car. And on one such car heading to Treblinka, is this Rav Fastag. And you can imagine you can't imagine, but we've heard stories and we've heard testimonies, and maybe we know people of what it was like and what it sounded like, and the cries and the shrieks on this cattle car. And there was one Jew, this Rav Fastag, who's sitting there in his ragged clothing, and he's singing a song. Okay. And everybody else is obviously full of anxiety, tension, whatever they're thinking about. And there he is, literally in a world in and of himself. It's like he was davening right next to the Majid Rebbe. And suddenly there appears in front of his eyes, he's singing a song, actually, whatever, was a different song, the story goes. But in his dream or his mind, there appears before him the words of this Rambam. Right? Now, not just the Rambam, but later the Animam. And Animamin be'emuna shlema bevias HaMashiach. Va'aval pisha yismamei, even if he delays, im kol zeh achakalo, b'chol yom shayach. And closing his eyes, he begins to meditate and to think. And when everything seems lost, he says, this is when a Jew's faith is put to a test. Why is it that these words come to his mind? Right? For many in situations like this throughout history with Shema Yisrael, which also speaks to our emunah and our faith and our desire to get close and to test our faith during the most difficult of times. So these words appear before him, and he begins to hum a tune. And suddenly there, amidst death and despair on this train to Treblinka, this chassid is transformed into a pillar of song. And he begins to daven and to sing the song that we sing. And it's spread from car to car as the story goes, and I'll tell you how we know. And as if in a walking dream, he opens his eyes and he sees this whole car train on the way to Treblinka singing Anima. His eyes are red from crying, his cheeks are wet from tears. And he says in a choked voice, whoever can bring this song, this niggin, to the Majid Rebbe, I'll give him half my Olam Haba. Half my Olam Haba will go to that person that can bring this song to the Majid Rebbe. Okay? There's a silence in the train, and all of a sudden, two boys jump up. They break a hole in the roof of the train. They jump out. And one of them is killed instantly. And the other one makes his way to the Majid Rebbe. He survives. He takes with him the memory of this song, finds his way to Israel, probably to the Majid Rebbe's son, the Imre Eish, who was in Tel Aviv. And upon receiving this song, of this chazan, he said they sang on Imamin on the death train, and the pillars of the world were shaking. Kadosh Baruch Hu says, when they sing this on Imamin, he will remember the 6 million victims and have mercy on the rest of my people. And the story goes that on that first Yom Kippur, the Majid Rebbe sang this on Imamin, and there were thousands of people in the shul. And the Rebbe said, with this niggin, the Jewish people went into the gas chambers, and with this niggin, the Jews will march to greet the Mashiach. That is the belief in Mashiach. The idea of tzipisa liYehoshua, if we go back to the Rambam, maybe we can look for 1 second. We have just 3 minutes left. Why is the Rambam so strong in his language? In not only in the Parasha Mishnayos, but even in the Halacha. The Rambam is so strong because we have to understand that for the Rambam, this is not simply just a belief. It is part of a Jew. A Jew is made up of laws, of things that I do and things that I don't, of how I wash my hands, how I make hamotzi, how I make bench Shabbos candles, all of those things. And a Jew is simply also made up at the same time of things that I believe, because belief for the Rambam is as important as the dues. You have to have both. And one of those beliefs is a belief in Mashiach, because it affects my entire life. It affects how I understand the world. That when things don't go wrong, and maybe we've heard at times, maybe we've went through our own struggles. Whenever we go through a struggle, whenever we go through something very difficult, it's important to remember there will never be somebody that will come along and give me a reason that I could say, you know what? Now I know why X had to happen. There is something inside of us that feels like I just don't understand. But I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to believe, I'm going to have a emunah. And when we do that, and maybe we've done that every single day for the last 3 months almost. Maybe every single day when we daven Shachris, when we daven Mincha, when we just we're having a rough moment, and we said, I don't get it, but there must be a plan. That's a check for us of the belief in Mashiach. That's an understanding that we believe that there is a world that is being run, a master plan. And even if I don't get it, I believe in it, and that's belief in Mashiach. And that's something that we should feel proud. I think one of the things we have to do for this Shavuos, we have to feel proud of what we've done and accomplished, even during these most difficult and trying circumstances. The amount of learning, the amount of chesed, our Torah growth has only grown. And with that, not only has the things we've done grown, the Torah, the amount of minutes, but our belief in Mashiach, our belief that there is a plan, our belief that even when I don't understand it, because I know that Mashiach will come one day, that means I believe that even now, somebody, of course, is running this world, and that is Hashem, and that is one of the 13 principles of faith. And with that strengthening of our emunah, I hope and I wish you all a wonderful Yontiv, a Chakosher v'Sameach, and everybody should sign up to learn the Perek, Mishnayos, Tanakh, for the amazing siyum we're going to have over Yontiv. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rabbi Leibtag. Thank you for the incredible share.